Welcome to Real Migos, new night, 1 week only, Tuesday night. We got a fantastic guest. I should have promoted it a little bit more that Jeb Smith was going to be on the channel, but I wanted you to keep.
You wanted people to show up.
Yeah, I wanted people to show up. Just another Californian on the channel. So sorry for doing an off night. My son's got baseball tomorrow, so got to do it one night a week. But tonight's sponsor, unofficial sponsor, Garrison Brothers. The drinking game today is anytime Jeb touches his beard, you got to take a shot. Okay, everybody get ready for this. And every time Ian hits the mute button on his thing, is take a shot. So
I'm ready.
Ian, we'll let you go first. How's it going, man?
Oh man, it's good. And I know we're going to get into this, but this is one of those weeks where I'm getting a lot of buyer calls.
Yes.
A lot of buyer calls.
Yes.
And then I look on the market and there were like 104 active in the last week. That's nothing in Austin. So we'll get into that later, but I'm good, man. I just lost out on a really cool NFT. I'll tell you about later too.
Is that like a pair of underwear? What's an NFT?
It is it's a non-fungible. Yeah.
Toilet. All right. Jeb Smith, man, out of LA, one of my favorite tubers out there. Here's his channel. If you have not subscribed to his channel, which I'd imagine everybody.
I just want to say he does not look like that last picture I just saw.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, who the hell is that guy on the top?
That's not the same guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like the agent that got their picture taken 30 years ago, and now I'm still out there.
Yeah, I love
Fantastic.
it. So, Jeb, you do a ton of content, more on the market in general. And that's what I love about your channel. What's going on in the market in general? Give us like a 3-second overview.
3 seconds.
Yeah.
Supply is the same, buyer demand's the same, rates are higher. That's the 3-second. Yeah. No, I don't think we've seen the effects of rising rates yet. If we are going to, your market's a lot, like here in Southern California, things move very quickly. Over the last 2 weeks, supplies pretty much stayed similar to where it has been. Buyer demand, multiple offers, it's still moving, even with higher rates. So it'll be interesting to see, what we're talking about in 6 weeks. Is it the same, or are things changing a little bit?
Now, this is a good question. So you're Southern LA, right?
I'm in Orange County. So yeah, I'm about halfway in between San Diego and LA.
Nice. If I were to tell people I'm from California, I would just tell them I'm from Orange County. I would not tell them I'm from LA. So that's smart. That's smart. I don't blame you. How's the inventory there in your neck of the woods though?
So today, 1,445-ish properties in Orange County, 3.3 million people, 1,400 proproperties. So
that's
depleted.
A lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's depleted. It's depleted for us. Huntington Beach, where I am, as I came on the show, we had 99 properties. So we're 200,000+ people, 99. And it's pretty consistent. That's week over week. We vary a little bit, but it's not like we haven't seen any real changes since, beginning of the year.
So what does that look like? Because we always talk in realtors talk, we talk months of inventory. What is that in months of inventory?
Here locally, it's probably about less than a month. I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty depleted. California as a whole, I think, sits somewhere around 1.6, 1.7 ish, somewhere in that ballpark. So in the grand scheme of things, here in Orange County, definitely a little bit less than some of the other parts of California. But overall, it's a lot like you guys. We have the same problems outside of, our buyers are moving to your market because it's more affordable.
Yeah, they are moving to our market because it's more affordable. That was a good question I had, and we'll get to it in a second because I want to stay on the I want to get to the question: are people still, for lack of better words, evacuating California?
Yeah. In fact, I have a call after our call here tonight with a client who lives in LA. In fact, and he's originally from New York. They came out here, and he's owned property for the last, I don't know. He moved out here after 9/11. So he's been out here, 20 years now. And so he's ready to get out. He basically said, look, I'm over the whole mask thing. I'm basically over everything. And he's not looking to go south. He's looking to go like I'm from North Carolina originally, so he's looking to go Tennessee, somewhere in that region of the country, just because, for a lack of a better word, it sucks with regards to, some of the things going on here in California. And so people, the answer is, people are still leaving.
I mean, hopefully he finds something affordable leaving LA. I mean, it's so expensive this side of LA. But Ian, what are you seeing inventory wise? I mean, I looked in the MLS. I saw about 1,900 homes, which I would imagine is still about 0.3 of a month of inventory. That's probably what we'll end at for March, because March is almost over. But inventory wise, what are you seeing for Austin?
Yeah, I mean, it's low. I'm still getting pushbacks. So I don't know what that means for our actual numbers, but pushbacks from builds, that's still today. I'm getting more pushbacks. So I know all that screws our inventory numbers a little bit.
Pushbacks means that they're not closing on time.
So I had some that were supposed to close April 1st. Now we're hearing June. Multiple.
And why is that, Ian? Is it lack of supplies? Is it just slowdowns in general?
You'll hear labor and supplies. So lumber's going up. It's always going back up, right? And then the labor people, you still keep hearing labor can't get good people to stick around.
Right.
And how am I supposed to counter that? How am I supposed to combat that with a builder saying, you're telling me you have this number of resources, almost unlimited resources, and you can't hire somebody to come and do this job? Is that what
they can? They just don't want to pay the premium that it's going to take to keep those people around, right?
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I read an article, guys. I mean, I'm sure you saw this. I forget where the lady was. Where she went into contract, and was it Georgia maybe? And the builder basically canceled her contract at like a week before closing and put it back on the market and sold it for 25% more.
That's happened here.
I'm glad you said that, because the video that's right here that I just put out today, the one at the caution tape warning, I literally talk about this for 9 minutes in the video, 9:32. Talk about some of those things that they're doing. And what's crazy, I haven't gone through and read the email, but this guy called me today. He was building a house in Rough Hollow, and he's like, you would not believe what happened. And kind of explain it to me. I want to read through his he sent a letter to the builder, and basically broke down what happened. It was a lot of stuff with delays. So I'll read through that, make a video about it. But that's, a lady I ran into. I went to the first, Ian, you're going to be happy about this. My first Porsche Club meeting was on Thursday. And this lady bought in California with a builder in California, and literally was like, yeah, they tried to terminate on me. I'm a lawyer, and they tried to terminate me right before closing. In fact, the lender sent him a termination that they can't do the loan. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so she ended up having to pay cash. And I had that happen with one of my clients. So
yeah. So the one I'm talking about, I don't know if you heard of it directly, but she said in the article, they quote that the contract was a unilateral contract. So literally the builder could cancel for any reason. The way I read it is they could come up with anything and literally cancel at the last minute, which seemed crazy to me, because the contract, I mean, the builder at that point, what happens if prices were to go down? Clearly that buyer would have been locked into that contract and not been able to go anywhere. But yet in this case, it benefited the seller. Therefore the seller says, you know what, we're out. We're able to get 25% more. It seems nuts. And she had done upgrades to the property. So they gave her back her escrow deposit, but never refunded her for the upgrades that she actually paid for out of pocket to do.
Oh, even if it was a bilateral contract, nobody wants to back out. Everybody wants to keep out
for sure.
Get another. So
yeah. I'll send you the article if you haven't seen it. Just be something to add to your your repertoire, if you will.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So I want to get to pricing, Carlos. I'll definitely get to that, but I want to stay with Jeb here. So Jeb, let's talk about this. Ian, you're seeing quite a few people that are out of town buyers, right? So Jeb, are you still running into a lot of people putting their homes on the market and leaving? The second question I have for that is, if people are doing that, right? So many people are listing and leaving. Why aren't prices going down in LA, and are prices going to keep going up in LA?
Well, the first question, am I seeing people still leaving? I am. On average probably have 5 people a year move out of state, right? I don't do like a ton of transactions. I'll do about 30, 35 transactions a year. So out of that, 5 will leave the state for one reason or another. that hasn't really changed. And I don't really have a day-to-day monitor on that sort of thing because they're kind of here and there with regards to people moving out of states. But with that, people coming into the state. So the National Association of Realtors for a while had a thing on their website where you could check the where California sent the most people moving and where the most people came in from California. And in fact, it was Texas. So we sent the most people to Texas, but in return, Texas sent the most people back to California. So there's no shortage of people looking to buy property here in California. So people leaving and moving out of state, it's not affecting prices at all, just because there's a line of people here locally that are still looking to purchase for one reason or another, not counting the people that are relocating in or migrating into California. So it has no effect at all. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the net migration in all of California last quarter or fourth quarter of 2021 was like 175,000 people. I mean, we're like the third largest economy in the world. So we could ship out 175,000 people a quarter for years and it wouldn't do anything.
Hey, Jeb, do you know have you seen like an air traffic controller style graph that shows people are coming specifically from Dallas to the Bay Area or specifically leaving Orange County, moving to?
I haven't, but it would be interesting to see exactly where people, if you have, I mean, I'm not sure if you have it.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting because, what we've seen recently here within the state of California is, we've always had people like want to move, from Orange County to say the Bay Area, or move from Orange County to say, some less expensive areas, Riverside, San Bernardino, maybe even San Diego, just because they want to get out of Orange County or LA for one reason or another. But what's really interesting now is because prices have gotten so expensive up in, say, the Bay Area, we have a lot of people that look at our prices down here, even though, we think they're high compared to Bay Area, they're low. And people are like, you know what? It's less expensive to live in Southern California than it is Northern California. And for many reasons, we have less of the politics down here, say in Orange County than north of Orange County. And so we've got a lot of migration happening in the state of California to our markets just because of the cost of living. I mean, and it seems crazy because you're going from, say, an average price of, I mean, I'm making up these numbers, but say 2 million to, 1.5 million. It's still, exorbitant in the grand scheme of things, but it's causing that migration to happen.
Yeah. I mean, so let's talk about this then. So people are still moving in and out, right? They're still moving from California to Austin. They're moving back from Texas back to California, and then inner California moving, right? So people are still moving. But as we're seeing interest rates hit 5%, and then Aaron said basically today, oh, I missed it. Here we go. That essentially the Fed has now said the real estate bubble has started. They didn't call for a crash though. Like, what are you thinking? And, I want to get your opinion on the March numbers as well to answer this question by Carlos, what your predictions are. But where do you see prices going from here the rest of the year? I'm sure you've talked about it on your channel.
I don't see much. I mean, I think the market's going to slow down a little bit just because of an affordability standpoint. But I don't know that you're going to see much change in the overall front of housing. Like, I'm not expecting price declines. I'm definitely not expecting prices to crash by any sense of the word. I think if anything, you just see some moderation. Instead of having 20 offers on a property, now you have 5, 10 offers. I mean, at the end of the day, all it takes is 2 to have a multiple offer situation. And I don't think, that's going to change enough. I mean, I can give you examples, like a property I listed 2 weeks ago. Out of 21 offers on it, not one of those buyers had less than 20% down. So 21 offers, all of them had 20% down. And mind you, 21 offers, because I basically told people that were interested in submitting an offer not to waste their time because of where they said they were going to come in on price. So we could have had 50 or 100 if we would have just, kept taking in offers. But 21, not one person had less than 20% down, and multiple of those were cash. And so, yeah, it might slow down, but the rates don't affect the cash buyers, and those buyers are pretty heavy at the moment. And moving to your market, especially because a lot of them are selling in states like California, and they have the cash to do these things.
So I was writing a note because I want to ask you about another question. But so, Ian, as far as the Austin market goes, though, you said you had a busy week, a lot of buyers calling you. I just started growing a team. So, a lot of my team was panicking a week ago, and I'm like, give it a week. We'll have a lot more people calling us because everybody's out for spring break. And sure enough, we have had quite a few people reach out to us this week. You said you're seeing people. What are your expectations over the next few months, especially with rates going up? Are you expecting prices in Austin to drop anytime soon?
It's kind of interesting. A couple of the people that have reached out are actually investor buyers, and I think what they're trying to do is kind of undercut some of the other buyers that are priced out. And I think it's a good opportunity, but also still beat this, this after spring rush that we always anticipate or had anticipated historically. So I unfortunately do see prices still rising, maybe not as dramatic as they have over the last few months, but I don't see them. I definitely don't see them dropping. Let me say it that way. That's not happening.
So there's something that's interesting. We've speculated for a while that the market was still going to go up, and that if the market were to start shifting, you'd have a lot more of these VA, FHA buyers start jumping back in the pool. I hope that's still the case, but I'm noticing the same thing too. A lot of those people that are FHA, I think they're all jumping back in the rental pool. I have a rental. I don't do rentals very often, but I had a client buy a pretty sweet house in Austin with us. And so I said, hey, look, I'll put your house up for rent for free. I won't charge you. And I don't do that very often. And after this, I probably won't do it again because I had more people calling me than I could handle. I had more applications than I could handle. And this is now going to go over what we listed, which was at about market value. And I had people like throwing, we're going to do X over, we're going to do $250 over, $300 over. We'll give you a bigger deposit. We'll pay 6 months up front. So I think the rental market's going to be a challenge personally, because I think a lot of these people that would have purchased this year, they have interest rates going up. So they're going to probably hold off a little bit longer. And what you're going to see is a lot more investors purchase, and these rental prices are not going to slow down. What are your thoughts on rental prices slowing down?
Talking to me or Ian?
Both. It's an open question.
I can talk from the side. So I just put a rental on the market as well. So I don't do a lot of rentals. Had a client purchased an investor, in fact, San Jose, buying rental property down here. And we're talking $1 million+ rental property, right? So it doesn't necessarily cash flow. So it's not like he's buying it for the cash flow side of things. It's more from an appreciation standpoint. But nevertheless, so renting it out for him, and $5,000 a month, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. Not on the sand by any means, but it's a nice property. I like you said, more calls than I can handle. I mean, it's almost frustrating because of the number of calls that you get. I mean, I text a buddy of mine today, and I was basically like, dude, these people are nuts. Like, they call me, they text me, they email me, and then like 10 minutes later, they text me, then they call me, then they email me. And then if I don't respond, I mean, it's just repetitive. And I was like, dude, get out of here. Because I mean, and it's not just one person, it's multiple. And we're talking $5,000 a month for rent. I mean, this is nuts. And there's a line of people ready to do it. So I don't see much changing on that front either.
What are your thoughts, Ian?
I think I know, man.
The level of disdain for the market.
Well, so, we keep talking about people that are in a situation where they're renting and they're holding. They might be in that situation longer than predicted. And because the inventory isn't getting better, it's just not getting better, the inventory situation, and the prices are going higher. Do we really think that the people that are in rentals are going to be able to jump into a new home immediately? That I don't know. But also, the number of people relocating, I haven't seen it. I need to find graphs for that too. How many are actually coming here? I want that attrition graph. I actually just tweeted.
I have it, actually.
I need that. But specific for the areas. Like, I don't care if they're leaving Texas and going to California. I care that they're leaving Williamson County or Travis County and they're moving to a certain area, and vice versa. That's all I care about.
No. That would be good.
Specific counties.
Yeah, I don't have that one. I met with the chief he doesn't like to call himself an economist, but the president with TNT Title, and we did a whole thing. I have it. Give me a minute and I can pull up and show you. I do have some graphs. I just remembered they sent it to me. But with that being said, the problem we ran into this last year, and I think a lot of us were fooled. Maybe Jeb, you weren't fooled by this, but remember during the pandemic, we said, okay, towards the end of the year, we're going to have all of these foreclosures, and none of those foreclosures came because of everything that was put into place. Now you're starting to see January, February, the numbers for foreclosures are way up, right? Again, I don't think that they're actually up. I think if you look compared to the year before, yeah, they're way up because we didn't have them. Do you think that we'll start getting some of these foreclosures, or people that need to panic sell because now they're getting foreclosed on? Do you think we'll start seeing some of that inventory, and will that impact the market?
Do you think that the United States government has an image to uphold?
Are you asking Brandon? I'm sorry, Jeb.
Yeah, I'm asking because this is all part of it, right? Like it matters if there's always going to be a system in place to protect foreclosures from rising. Mm-hmm. So that it was just an open-ended question, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. Like the data says that the average homeowner at the moment has 185,000 of tappable equity. That's above and beyond the 20% they need to tap that equity. So the average homeowner has a lot of equity in their property. So the idea of foreclosures rising, it's not going to be anything going forward. A lot of these foreclosures were people that prior to, the pandemic were already in distress. And so therefore it's a foreclosure that's going to take place. So yes, there will be some inventory from it. But is it going to be enough to change the dynamic of the market? No, it's not. It's not going to happen. And you see these videos where, the title 700% increase in foreclosures. Yeah, because there was one last month. Now there's 700 across 50 states. Like houses. Like, come on, guys. It's a joke. But I do believe that you will see some from forbearance, just because people are going to realize that they can't do the monthly payment for one reason or another. Maybe their payment with their lender got adjusted, just a little bit higher than what they thought they could afford, or what have you. And that isn't going to be a fire sale. It's not going to be a distress sale. It's going to be a market sale where the seller has equity in their property and they sell it. And it's a standard buyer coming in. And even then, those are going to be few and far between. I've heard cases of some of these forbearances where, people had a 4% rate, say, before, and the lender dropped it to like 1.5. I mean, just stupid stuff to keep people in property. So I don't know where inventory is going to come from. Something has to give at some point, I mean, that's what I keep saying, and I've been saying it forever, but I just don't know. Like it's frustrating because I seem, if you watch my videos, I sound like the biggest pessimist in the world when it comes to the housing market. And I'm super bullish on housing, like super bullish. And I'm not one-sided, like unilaterally viewing things. I just don't know how it changes. Like as somebody that wants to see first-time home buyers get into property, it's frustrating. So I do come across almost pessimistic in a sense, because it is like, I just don't see where it changes. I mean, especially say here in Southern California or these big metro areas like Austin, where people want to be.
So Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. You've seen 3D printed homes in Austin, right?
Don't spoil my next video, Ian, but sure.
I think that's part of the opportunity, is that there are a variety of things that can be done. It's really just, you have a lot of landholders that just want the right price to come along, and they'll sell it. They'll sell land. So land should be readily available. And then it's what rules are preventing people from going out and just building their own homes. I have a lot of people that just want to do that. They don't want to deal with any mass market builders. They just want to go build their own on their own land, but they can't get the land. And so I don't know when that changes over, but once that does change over, there are solutions. It's just
those solutions aren't. Here's the problem. Those solutions are not in Austin. There's only 15,000 available acres to build on in Austin, because what Austin has done over the years is they will take land, and let's say you're a car dealership and
Yep.
you buy 40 acres, and it's going to be permeable land, which means you're going to have
Can you
concrete on
spell
it.
that?
Yeah, permeable. I got it. So what happens is if you're a dealership and you buy this, now you have to buy acreage somewhere in Austin, on the fringe of Austin, buy it and hold it as just conservatory. It can't be built on. It's got to be it's got to be just land. It can't be built on at all. So all around my house is all conservatory. Like, so you can't even build on it. I mean, so that's a problem in Austin. There's only 15,000 acres. So that's why, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of going vertical in Austin, but Austin's going to have to go more vertical if we want to continue to sustain, especially with this growth and people moving further out. Like, I'll buy a condo downtown and have a party condo if they'll allow me to Airbnb it. But Austin is so ridiculous about Airbnbs. You can't even buy an Airbnb in Austin.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, and the problem with that, like where I am, say Southern California, yeah, there's land, but it's desert. Like, I mean, if you want to go out there, you could do that now. And so yeah, in some markets, I mean, there's a lot of land out there, right? I don't know how that problem corrects itself in, say, Southern California, just because, I mean, you can go east, you can go, there's infill pockets here and there, but, the big picture isn't, it's not easy to change this. I mean, the way that the last I read, the builders need to build about 500,000 more homes than they're building on average per year for the next 10 years, just to catch up with current, demand, population increase, all that good stuff. So I don't know. It's going to be one that it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Well, I mean, the other thing that's kind of tough too is that, like what a lot of these comments are with people refinancing, why would they sell their home and then now get a higher interest rate?
Hold on though.
Go ahead.
How many people didn't refinance? There are a lot of people that are still sitting there with 6 and 7% interest rates, and they never made a move because they didn't know who to trust, or just didn't hear about it, or didn't care.
No, agreed. I don't know what the numbers are. I've seen the stats. It's like, some number of millions of people, like, didn't refinance or still have the opportunity to refinance or whatever.
Amigos podcast. That's a problem.
Yeah, they weren't watching Sarah telling people to refinance. That's so Sarah's you have a lender that comes on your channel. Sarah's our resident lender. But speaking about lenders, I have a little bit of a worry for some of those people that are financing our loans this year. I have a prediction that we're going to see a pretty significant drop in lenders this year, and we're going to see a decent drop in active realtors in the market. What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% hope so.
I am with Ian. Yes, I agree.
The problem I think a lot of these lenders face, and look, we make friends with a lot of these lenders. They take us out to lunch trying to get us to bring them business and things like that. Not Sarah. Sarah's never taken me to lunch, Sarah, but I'm just kidding. Once she did. But the problem is a lot of these people relied on refis, and now I'm getting more and more calls from lenders like, "Hey, Jeremy, it's been a year. How have you been?" I'm like, "It's been a year. Yeah, you didn't send me any clients over the last year. I know I tried to send you clients, but you're too busy with your refis." I'm not saying all lenders like that. So please, I have a lot of good lender friends, but I think there's going to be a fair amount of lenders out of the business.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the numbers, the last I read was there's like 3 million licensed real estate agents in the country. About 1.5 million of those actually practice real estate. I mean, and you guys know, I mean, out of that 1.5 million, what, 5% do 95% of the business? I mean, the Pareto principle is 80-20. It's definitely higher.
That's it.
Than that. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of those real estate agents do one transaction every couple of years, for friends and family. So those people aren't, active real estate agents anyway. So you're going to lose people, no question. It's not as easy of a business as people want to make it out to be for many different reasons. But the mortgage side of things is always one that attracts people very quickly because it's like, hey, the refi boom, it's easy to make money. It's easy to, just, get deals here and there, and you make, a couple grand each pop, depending on your loan prices and points and all that good stuff. And so they have a false reality of what a real market looks like, because it's been easy to make money in the business over the last year and a half. Things are going to change. It's going to become a pros market, and it's going to get interesting for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, it's going to. It's interesting. So I went and showed a listing today, and the agent didn't really seem to know because I had a bunch of just the standard questions, and the agent was totally oblivious to all of my questions. I'm like, this guy's not going to make it very long.
How many bedrooms are there?
Yeah, it wasn't even that. It was just hey, so what's your deadline? What's this look like? What's that look like? And they were like, well, I'm not even in this MLS. I'm from a different MLS. I'm like, this is what gives realtors a bad name for the most part.
Absolutely.
But
that's something that they're starting to enforce, at least here in our market, is geographical competence. So if you're from another area and you get you get your license, that's great. And you live in an area and you learn an area, that's great. But don't sell all around this market if you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm glad that they're working on that.
So who is actually working on that?
For us, it's the Texas Real Estate Commission.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
It is. It's awesome. I love that, because I don't know how many deals I've had where realtors from Dallas or Houston or San Antonio are trying to help a buyer here and have no clue what they're talking about half the time, have no idea about how our foundations are here, nothing about our tax rates. And they're like, oh, I've got a buyer for this house. It's like, okay, I don't know if I believe you.
No, I agree. I mean, we have the same thing. I mean, I have people in my market trying to, bring in buyers from San Diego. They're like, hey, I can't make it this weekend. Can you show my client? No, you come up here and show your damn client.
If I'm showing
you drive 2 hours to come show your client if you're really wanting to buy it. I mean, it's
how much money did you say?
What's
to
that?
Show your client?
No, I didn't say any amount of money, but I said you should. No, I said if you're looking to to show your client, drive the 2 hours it takes is what I said to come up here and show them.
Sure, I'll show your client. Here's my Venmo. My hourly rate's $500 an hour. It's going to take me at least 3 hours to show your client.
No way. I want a percentage.
Well, I mean, the thing is, so that's a different thing for you and I, Ian, is that in Texas, we don't have dual agency. Yes, you can represent a seller and the buyer be technically representing themselves. Holy crap, that's a shit show though. But in California, you can represent, you have dual agency. So for here, I would be like, hey, I'll pay your referral fee for giving me your client up in LA, and I'll just pay your referral fee. Have fun.
Yeah.
But,
so hold on. So you can represent the seller, and then the buyer can represent themselves. So what happens to the commission on the buyer side when they represent themselves?
The whatever you sign the agreement with your seller, that's the agreement. So they don't get. I mean, they can't in Texas. They cannot get a commission. The buyer
can't.
Right. So it's between you and your seller what you want to do from there.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I get the whole dual agency thing. Sounds crazy. I'm against it. I think it's a super gray area. As a real estate agent, I mean, I benefit from it, and I still think it's one of those things that is questionable within the business. I mean, there's ways around it, let's be honest, but it's still just overall not.
I'm not a fan of lawsuits, and I feel like that just opens you up for a lawsuit.
I think if you over clarify, and both parties, the buyer and the seller, still impress upon you that this needs to happen and they don't need anyone else because they can communicate what they need to communicate, and all you are is the middleman passing the message.
You're a facilitator.
I'm all for it.
Yep.
But that's rare, and people don't understand that when it starts to get tricky. But if it's just a one and done transaction, no inspection or no worries about that, and it's a straightforward purchase, then
it's like hiring an attorney to represent you and the person you're going to. It's like you're just the middleman at that point. I mean, what's the point?
Can you imagine hiring a divorce attorney to work both sides?
Exactly. I mean, unless you mutually agree, like Ian said, it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Divorce or the same attorney?
Both. I don't want to do either one of those things. What's crazy about these stories is the biggest purchase of your life, yet they let their cousin who just got their license go and do it. Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's because people don't understand and they don't want to ruin the relationship. And I get that. Relationships are what life's about, but at the same time, you don't want to give that opportunity to somebody and then they screw up. I guarantee that'll ruin the relationship far worse.
You know that. Go ahead.
No. What I was going to say, I don't think most people understand the idea. They think, hey, if they can just help me get the house, that's they've done their job. But they don't. I mean, there's so much more, and it's self-serving, right? I mean, we're real estate agents here saying that go with experienced agents, but the negotiating, the details that matter after you get your offer accepted. I mean, that's only negotiation one, is the offer getting accepted. The real stuff, the real negotiation happens after the fact. And so that's where the inexperience really starts to show, in my opinion. But yeah, it's, again, self-serving. So
go ahead, Jeremy.
I was just going to say, have you seen that? I don't know if it's a TikTok or Instagram that goes around where people are talking about how a lady goes to Picasso, finds him in a diner and asks him to draw on a napkin. He draws on a napkin and then asks her for an absorbent amount of money. And she goes, but it only took you 5 minutes. And he goes, no, you're paying for the 40 years it took for me to be able to do that in 5 minutes. Yeah. That's how that's why when people are like, hey, I want this or that, I'm like, I've paid my dues, and you're getting, especially when you work with my wife, you're getting much better quality when you work with my wife. She's a bulldog, but yeah, I mean, that's how I look at it there too. It's just like, it's cost. Nobody understands the cost. I broke this down for somebody. Somebody asked me this the other day. They were like, hey, I'm in like Michigan or wherever, and I'm a teacher and I'm thinking about just getting my license part-time. Is it, what's the word they used? Is it, basically, is it worth it? Like, is it lucrative is the word they used. And I'm like, well, let me break down the basic costs just to become a realtor. And then you tell me if it's lucrative. Like, how many are you going to sell? And then I broke down the math. And once you break down the math for people, usually they're like, oh yeah, never mind. So I don't know.
I think the average income from real estate agents, like the last one was like 40 grand or something. Yeah. And that's pre-tax.
That was pre-2019, but also, yes, pre-tax.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Is Manor still considered far away? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Easy question.
The other thing I wanted to mention on that is if you're watching this and you have a, like you're trying to buy something, but you want to help a sister or relative or something, that's fine. What you do is get that agent, instead of giving them the opportunity and you being questionable, like it's questionable, have that agent call another more experienced agent and get a referral fee, and then they can work it together. And now you've got twice the benefit at the same price to you, which is in Texas, nothing out of your pocket 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, cool. Man, that took us 38 minutes to really go through all I wanted to talk about. So that was pretty impressive time wise. What else is going on in your neck of the web? Jeb, just make some words happen.
So, not a lot, man. It's, trying to navigate the market, a lot like you, trying to figure out, building people around me. My business model has changed, because of, YouTube and other sources, and just trying to figure out, how to build it, create content, do my job, all of that stuff. So it's, not much out of the norm. It just, for me, having the conversations about interest rates and actually boots on the ground, I think is what makes good content. And that's what's important about, there's a lot of people out there, and I'm going to, talk some crap here at the moment.
Hold on, everybody take a drink.
There we go. We'll touch the beer too. A lot of people like out there at the moment making videos on the real estate market that have no idea, because they're not actively involved in the real estate market for one reason or another. So it's easy to throw stones at what's going on when you have no idea what's actually happening day to day. And so I think listening to, Jeremy, Ian, people that actually practice real estate daily can tell you, hey, this is what's happening right now. Even with a rise in interest rates, nearly 2% since the beginning of January, we're still seeing buyer demand. Maybe it's not what it was, January 5th, but it is still, pretty intense out there as a buyer. That stuff is what you should pay attention to, and not from the, to get discouraged. But if you're actively in the market, you need to know what's going on. And this stuff helps you make better informed decisions. So I think that's important. And that's kind of, been the goal around me and YouTube and doing that, is trying to get information out to people that they can use and not spread fear, so to speak. So outside of that, man, I ain't got a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of pushing back on those narratives on here for those reasons alone. I mean, I guess the problem I have is when you look at some of the justification for the quote unquote crash, and you look at the underlying data they use, it's like you couldn't cherry pick any harder at some of this. I mean, I was told in the middle. So there is a person out there, and you're probably talking about the same person I am, but they said that Austin was going to crash because rates were going up so fast, our prices were going up so fast, but rental rates hadn't caught up and our incomes hadn't caught up. Incomes, rates, or rental rates, all that is such a lagging indicator. It takes so long for that to actually catch up. So yes, there's probably a great period where incomes weren't, but now people that are moving to Austin now are probably making a pretty good penny because it is more expensive to come here. Now, not if you're going to go work at like Costco or somewhere like that, right? Yes, the prices to work at Costco have gone up or the incomes have gone up, but those don't meet the actual housing demand. I get stuff like that, but the median for family in Austin's over $100,000. So it's pretty, it's pretty decent.
So another thing I've noticed is, and we talk about that. I know everybody follows financial channels and stuff, and fear of loss is greater than the fear of gain, right? Mm-hmm. So there are channels that focus on income, but I think the beauty of the Austin market right now is that people are looking at more as a vehicle for savings, a tangible asset that they can put money into, and it's not going to go anywhere except up. So it's not about the income. And it won't be about the income 2 years from now when you have a smaller investor that has 5 homes. It's not about how much they make. It's about how much they didn't have to spend in taxes or for whatever their political ordeals are.
No, agreed. I mean, again, in addition to that, I mean, wages are growing. They never grow at the same rate as home prices and all of that. But I will say one thing, and I say this a lot, is people are too worried at the moment as to the value of their house, or worrying about what their house is going to be worth, tomorrow or the next month or the following month, versus just, are you going to be there for, an extended period of time? Because I think that's important in this market, right? Is the idea of that you're not buying today and selling in 2 years and trying to make a profit like people have done over the last 2 years, trying to duplicate, what's happened, buying for the right reasons. And if you're doing that, you have the longer term time horizon. Real estate long-term, it's not going down. It's going to continue to go up. It's going to continue to get more expensive. That's why your grandparents purchased homes, and paid, a 20th of what the prices are now. And that's going to continue to be the case. And, when I bought a house in 2012, the house that I own at the moment, I am a real estate agent, and yes, I follow values, but when I bought the house, I never, when I bought it, worried about what it was going to be worth, the next year. It was more, can I afford the payment? Do I think I'm going to be able to afford the payment in a year, 2 years from now? And here we are now, and it's up, 150% from 2012. So just focus on, what you can afford, be comfortable in the payment. And I think those are the things that you should concentrate on. It's not a stock. It's not something that is tradable on a daily basis, or that you should pay attention to on a daily basis. There's so much information available that people feel like they need to use it to do something. And I don't think that's the right way to approach real estate.
That's interesting because, and I said this a while ago, is that back when we saw the 2008 crash, how much social media do we have, and how much do we actually have people speculating about a crash? Every time you look at stocks and the stock market, you have a lot more information at hand than you did a while ago. Do you think without social media, people would have been able to do all the shorts and stuff they did with AMC and all of that stuff?
Absolutely not.
They would have not.
No chance.
And so I think what's very interesting is we have so much more information that people are able to price that in to their purchases, or they can be more scared to purchase because they have so much more available data and information. So if you have a channel out there just saying it's going to crash and people are just
it's
listening
not
to that,
information though.
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is it's headlines.
Right. Headlines.
People take the headline, and again, I'm guilty of it
Sure.
in
Both of us are,
YouTube, in making headlines and or thumbnails that say, that make it look shocking, and then you address it in a video, right? That is, I wouldn't say part of the game, but that's what gets views.
Right.
But when you take that headline and you don't take the information that's available in the content, you don't actually watch the video, or you don't actually read the article, and you just take that and use that for your, that's the wrong approach. And that's a lot of what's happening out there is, somebody reads a headline, people exiting California, house prices are going to go down. And people take that and go, okay, prices are going to crash because everybody's moving out of the state of California. Okay. How's that worked out for you? Because prices haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, it's frustrating because you just want to take people and grab their face and say, pay attention, because this is, it's too easy to get caught up in the false narrative of crashes and doom and gloom and fear, because it spreads easily. I mean, there's been a headline for a housing crash every year since the last crash.
I'm going to tell you something. With that beard, I would be a little intimidated if you grabbed my face.
Yeah, you need to sit.
I'm like,
bro, the beard, I'm looking at myself on video thinking how awful this thing looks. I'm like, why and how have I gotten this far?
It's pretty stellar. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy it.
Ooh, I don't know that I would use stellar, but
I think his batteries died.
yeah, he's dead. He's
Something
out.
like that.
We just take over the show, Ian. Say whatever you want.
I like what Muhammad Yusuf said. He said, even the videos that talk about crashes and clickbait, their comment section is actually great, where people are contesting data with data. What's interesting about that is that's what actually fuels their video to do better, is because of all that engagement in the comments and people saying it's wrong. So they're going to keep doing that because that's what's working and getting them exposure. They don't actually care about the end result.
I try to figure out, like, okay, let's just take, because this is a conversation I have, and we can have it here on the air or we can have it off the air, but it's, what's the intent of these people with crash channels? Like, what's the benefit? I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the underlying, because the ad revenue on some of this stuff isn't paying that well. I know that.
It's not ads only. Go ahead, Jeremy. I know you're good.
I know the one specific sells like data to people who say they're investors. So they sell data, like, this is my data workup. And so if you go on there, you can pay for the data of where to purchase. Okay. So that is a revenue stream. So I love how people come at me and say, oh, I'm just a realtor and I make money off of telling you to buy a home, which I'm looking at the market. Again, I'm in the process of having to leave my school district because I'm not very happy with my school district. I'm leaving to another school district in a market where it's not the best time. And so so you're a buyer. I'm a buyer in this market, and I'm looking at interest rate. I'm in the middle of still purchasing a investment property that's taken a year, and it's still 3 months away from being built. And it's an small 1,800 square foot home. So I'm still in the same market as a lot of people, and it's never a perfect time to buy. And even Javier said this a week ago or last week, and this is the point I was going to make before I get cut off, is that there's never a perfect time. You have to do exactly what Jeb said back in 2012 when he bought his house is this the right time for me? Can I afford it? And if it's not, then don't. But don't get upset when prices go up and you say you should have. You can't do that to yourself. You can't say I should have back then. I do it all the time. My wife's mad at me because I didn't like a property she liked. I said no under the contract. Every day I got to hear about the stupid property on Saltgrass, right? And then I say to her, hey, 12 months ago when I said we should have bought this house over here for $575, and now you're looking at homes for $1.2 million in the same neighborhood, like, we could have bought. So, like, you can't do that to yourself. You just, is it the right time? Should you be buying? Can you afford it? That is what's the most important thing. And you said that very eloquently with a stellar beard. It's stellar.
Wow. It's pretty good.
No one's ever said anything I've said has been eloquent. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll make sure to drop a comment on your channel.
No, but it is interesting, the comments that feed channels, right? Because I always have the same people commenting. I always have the same people rebutting those comments and backing it up and that sort of thing. So it kind of creates, its own little, it's feeding off itself. So, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, Sarah. Sarah handles my personal stuff, so I wouldn't have her on if I didn't. And she locked me in at a 15% interest rate. I love her to death.
That's great. She gave me a great deal.
Yeah, she said it was the best on the market. I just didn't even question it. Ian, I mean, so we've gone through all this. I've said on the channel several times that I think if you're going to buy, the better time where you're not seeing as much fighting is towards August, September. Otherwise, right now, you're probably going to pay a better price. June, July, you're going to probably pay, May, June, you're paying the premium. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Jeb, I've said this. So I'll pull up while he's talking, I'll pull up the thing. So last year, our peak was 575 in the Austin market in June, July, and then it dropped down to like 540, I think, and stayed around there. And now we're back up to 565. I imagine March numbers are going to be right at 570, 571. So what do you think about that? Waiting till August, September to purchase potentially wouldn't have a little less competition. Both of you. Sorry.
I mean,
Beards first.
Oh, wow. I'll take it. So it's interesting. What I tell sellers and I tell buyers, alike is that, what the market's doing now, right? Bird in the hand, worth two in the bush. So predicting what the market's going to do in 3-6 months or now, it's a questionable game, especially experiencing what we've, experienced over the last 2 years. I mean, I'll go out on record and say, and I've said it multiple times, I didn't think this year we'd see the appreciation that we've already seen. I mean, I was saying high single digits, 7-8% appreciation this year is what I thought. Cause I didn't think you could duplicate 2021. I was clearly wrong in that regard. And so prices have shot up. Now I do believe you're likely to see, I don't know that more supply is the right answer, because I think some supply is going to be limited because sellers are just going to not sell because of interest rates and affordability, just like, those buyers out there in the market that aren't going to be able to purchase from an affordability standpoint. So I don't know what supply is actually going to do. I mean, I think you're going to have more options just because I think less buyer demand is probably, it has to happen just from an affordability standpoint. But the question is, where are prices then? I don't know that you're going to see a pullback in prices. So I think prices continue to move sideways to up. So I think if you found the right property today, so my wife and I are looking for property as well. So, and I'm also looking to buy investment property. So I'm not just a real estate agent out there saying you should buy property or do this. I'm actively trying to do it myself. I've been outbid in a couple of markets looking for investment property and that sort of thing. And from a home standpoint, haven't found the right one. But if the right house did pop up tomorrow, I would buy it. If it pops up in August, I'll probably buy it in August. So for me, it's less about what the market's doing. And quite frankly, is it the right property for me and my family? I'm at the point, I've got 3 boys growing, a wife, and we need more space. And so for me, it's all about the property and less about the things that are associated with that property, like the price. And that seems crazy for a lot of people out there. But for me, I'm looking, can I afford the monthly payment? I don't really care what the house is. If it's $5 million or it's $100,000, I'm looking at the payment of the property and not the price, because that's what I pay every month. I'm not paying the price of the property every month. I'm paying what my monthly payment is. So it's easy to say in videos that people don't care about the price. They care about the payment. But the reality is, I can tell you from that standpoint, that's true. I mean, I would much rather buy a less expensive property if I can, but if the payment makes sense to me, that's what I'm focusing on.
I'm going to tell you something. People that say they care about the price, but they're under the 1 million mark, they really are caring about the payment and they don't know any better. That's how I feel, right? Like, especially here in Texas, where the tax rates are variable per neighborhood. I don't think that's communicated well enough. And so you have people come to you with that sales price and not understanding what their monthly payment is going to be as a result of that. Their insurance, You know, like if you have to buy and it's in a floodplain and you have to pay double the homeowner's insurance, all those things. So also, I think my response would be predicated upon one of those other questions, which was how many people are going to continue moving here? And that person had said, based on Tesla. And I'm thinking Tesla is the least of my concern. I mean, not the least, but you know, that's what, 10%?
Samsung,
17 billion. 9 Tesla factories can fit inside of that one Samsung factory.
They don't even have enough sand for it to build put the concrete down.
Yeah. But just think about, it's not the company and the hiring. It's the company and the hiring, and then all of their spouses that need something to do. They're either going to become realtors or they're going to open up a shop somewhere and, you know, be a dog sitter or groomer. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but that industry that grows around it. And then, you know, that Tesla bought tons of land around there. Samsung, they're not buying just the land they need to build. They're buying that plus some. And from there, you have no clue what they're going to continue building. Elon Musk just yesterday tweeted, or there was some notice about the Gigafactory working on mega packs, power packs, so that if the power grid fails in Texas, they can cover it. And I called that when they announced the Gigafactory.
You did say that a while ago.
That's awesome.
And you said they should build a tunnel between here and Sal Padre so I can get to my condo and Boca Chica faster.
But what's important, like what you guys are saying, I think people need to understand is that when you talk about Austin, right, everybody thinks home prices have gone up so much that it has to crash, right? I mean, that's the idea, right? The market's just gone bananas there. It can't go up that fast. But then when you talk about the underlying things that are happening in Austin, job growth, population growth, like all of these things matter, right? That is what brings people to a market. That's what keeps people there in a market, is all of those things and all the reasons why you're not likely to see any big pullbacks in prices or any big changes in the market is because of all of those things that, you know, are the primary reasons that the market is really doing well. I mean, people only see the dollar signs and how much things have appreciated and you know, blame California for the increases. Yeah, that's a portion of it. But look how many jobs it's creating. Look how many people are coming from other areas. That's really important data. You should sell that data to somebody.
You know, it's funny is that you know, you can complain about Californians moving here until you sell your house to a Californian and you make a substantial amount of money. Then you're like, oh, wow, I love Californians. Your tune would probably change a little bit if you did.
Dude, I live in California. I hate Californians.
I've had sellers that say, I don't care about the price. I want it to go to a good family, whatever that means to them. And then they see a number and they're like, well, see, here's the thing about the number.
Yeah. I'm okay making $200,000 on this house. Oh, I'm going to make 300. Oh, yeah, that good family that I was going to send it to.
They look like a good family.
Yeah. Somebody please make this a meme.
You haven't seen them. They haven't even been here. What do you mean? They look like a good family.
Yeah, exactly.
They look good on paper.
Yeah, good on paper. Somebody make this a meme, please. I would.
That's so
real Migos and Will Smith and Chris Rock in this. Please make this a meme. Make this a meme and make it viral. I will put it on. If you do this, I'll put it on the Real Migos Instagram, my Instagram. I'll tag everybody in the world I can, even Elon.
That's fantastic.
Even Elon.
Yeah, I'll tag Elon. I don't think you can tag Elon, can you?
Yeah, he's on Instagram.
Yeah, I tried to. I'm not on
Twitter. Twitter's the only platform that I know he's on.
Oh, I stay off Twitter, man.
He's got COVID. I saw it.
He does. Well, that's just the headline, though.
Well, I saw that. I just read the headline, so I'm one of those people. I didn't actually read the article. He
said he has no symptoms.
Okay.
Speaking to Elon, Ian and I get to go meet him April 8th, right, Ian?
Yes, but that's not April 7th. So if anybody has tickets that they want to sell Jeremy for more than they paid, he will buy them.
Yeah, up to about $100.
So let's hear what's happening.
Ian, your mic's reverbing, but so they have an event on April 7th for the grand opening. So they're doing a huge party, fireworks, crazy, like 15,000 people at the thing. The next day, I think it's the Tesla Club is doing this. It put it together. I'm not really sure, but I bought tickets to that. And so they have like a big event at Tesla. I think you can tour. So there's quite a few tickets.
Are you driving your Porsche?
Yeah, I am.
I'm going to drive my motorcycle.
Are you? That's yeah. Pull up in a 911. In the back of it says my other car is a Tesla.
I love a jacket. Just the Tesla jacket. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Yeah. I'll just roll up my sleeve and put I'm going to get a tattoo before I go that's a heart and then write Elon in the middle.
The real question is, are you going to race a plaid?
In my 911? I'll race anything. I mean,
no card. It doesn't matter who I race.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't care if I lose. It was fun. The other way, I'll race a plaid. Yeah, it's a new news. I got a 911. It's
nice.
It's I love it.
Fantastic, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy it. My wife's not really happy about it, but that's all right. She'll live. All right. Any other questions before we jump out? Jeb's got 10 minutes. He's got 8 minutes now that I said that. 8 minutes for Jeb. Ian, what else you got?
Jeb, what are you looking forward to coming to your area that you think is going to spawn more growth?
Ooh, in my area, that's tough.
That might steal some Texans back.
Maybe the midterm elections. I mean, honestly, like I don't know. I'm not a politician by any sense of the word. I don't really care about politics in the grand scheme of things.
Same.
But that's part of the reason, right? People are leaving is we have an idiot running the state, for many reasons. So that could change.
A lot of that was like mask related, right? So if that's all mask and then that goes away, well, then what?
But it's not really. I mean, it's right. Taxes are a big problem, right? I mean, look at
a problem here too.
Well, yeah, no, but look at state income. I mean, look at state taxes, and then look at, for example, I lost my train of thought right when I was saying that. Gas prices,
idiot.
For example, let's look at gas prices and compare. The gas doesn't cost any more expensive to get it to California than, I mean. Yes, it does, but let's compare apples to apples. We just have so much tax on our gas versus what other states have. And so it's, we're $1.50 more than a lot of states because of that.
This brings me to a really important point. So your gas pays for a lot in your state, right? Your gas tax. Here, you have a lot of people switching to electric vehicles. Right. How are they going to tax electric vehicles, or how have they been doing that? There, I know.
Yeah,
I'm worried about that.
Yeah, I don't know that they have at the moment. I just bought one. In fact, they are going to find a way to tax it. They've already started, like with some of the models here in California. They're no longer giving, the carpool sticker to them, even though they're fully electric. They're changing the guidelines on that. So it's not one thing. It's just, what you have in California is a majority running the state. It doesn't matter which side you're on. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or you're Democrat. When you have a majority running, it's not good even for the people who support that party. And so that's what we've had for the last couple of years is just one, group running the state. And so if something doesn't pass, they put it back on the ballot 2 years later and you vote on it again and it doesn't pass. And guess what happens? 2 years later, it comes back. And so it's that stuff that people get sick of and want to move out. But I think until that changes, I don't think you see a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that was my driving factor when I moved, and that was back in I left in 2013 and came to Austin, and it was primarily all those reasons. Gas back then was like over $4 a gallon. I was driving a Toyota Tacoma that was, pretty good gas mileage car, but still like it wasn't the best. And then they were raising, I think, income tax from 9 to 11%. And I bought a home at the bottom of the market, like literally the bottom of the market after the 2008 crash. I made a little bit of money on it in California in a 5-year, 6-year time frame. But I was like, I'm having to rent out one of my rooms to make this work. I'm stressed. I'm trying to start a real estate business. And this is not a very friendly state towards business owners. And I just said, forget this. The one place I would have said I would always move is Austin, and we made the move and came here.
No, I'm here for the weather. Let's be honest. I'm here because it's 70 degrees outside. at the moment. And, a couple of days ago it was 80. And I mean, my wife's family lives here now. So there's other reasons that I'm here, but and I have a business here now. So it's a couple of different things that have kept me here. But outside of the state as a whole, yeah, there's a lot of reasons I would move, but people just look at, for example, they look at Texas and they go, it's less expensive, but then they don't factor in, like Ian said, property taxes are more expensive. And if you're in a floodplain, this is more expensive. And they just say the grass is greener and without actually factoring in the cost. And then at the end of the day, is it,
they get here and the grass is browner.
It can't be any browner than California. We don't have grass.
So I want to start a company where you spray the grass green like they do in Arizona.
Have those. No. They have those here. He's always put up on my Instagram. That's the guy.
Now that I said that, he's going to be on my Instagram wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeb, if you had a choice, would you move to Austin because no other city in Texas matters, or would you move to somewhere in Nevada?
Ooh, not Nevada. I would consider Arizona, parts of Arizona. I would consider South Utah, just because of how much is around you, how easy it is to get to skiing, hiking, to and the weather's good for the most part. So yeah, I mean, I would stay probably east-ish coast down to say Texas. I don't know. I mean, I'm from North Carolina, but I grew up in humidity, man. I don't know if I can go back. So I'm very much trying to stay in desert climates. That's why I kind of did my little triangle there between Arizona, Utah, and California.
I mean, we've got that. We were 90 degrees, 92 or whatever yesterday.
What was the humidity?
It wasn't bad, but today it's bad and it's 70. It was 72. So
yeah, see, that's the part. Yeah, I mean, again,
but bad because it's going to rain, not normally bad. Normally it's just like blistering hot, but then you step in the shade and you're good.
Right.
Or you go look for a breeze on a hill or jump in some water or something.
Bro, there's no hills anywhere. I've been to Texas. That place is the
we're in
flattest
hill
place on
country. I don't know if you've heard. It's called Silicon Hills. Now that's the name for it.
I actually did a triathlon in Austin like 5 years ago, maybe. I don't remember when it was. 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So that's the only time I've been there.
It's a very different.
It was
place.
a great spot, man. I enjoyed it.
Very different place than 5 years ago, for sure.
It is for good and bad. For good and bad.
Your beard would be more welcome, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you also need one of those flat brimmed hats, though. Like you need one of those.
Dude, wow. So California has taken over that place, huh?
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. So I went out to Wimberley not too long ago, which is kind of like the sticks. And there's this really cool place, a llama bar, like a llama bar. There's like llamas that you can go pet and feed. And it's got like a just beer, wine. I don't think they have like liquor there. And I was like looking around like, are we in LA or are we in the hill country in the middle of nowhere? Like, what is going on? I was like, I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was in LA. I really did. It was crazy.
No, it's going to continue to happen, man. As things get more expensive here, it's going to continue to send more people out of state. And so as crazy as your market has gotten, it's still less expensive than Southern California, right? Just like I used the Bay Area example earlier, people moving down there, even though prices are crazy here, it's less expensive than what they've experienced up north. And so that migration continues. So I don't know. We can have this conversation in August again and see if anything has changed.
Oh, is this the first time you've been on this channel, The Real Migos? I swear I brought you on here a while ago.
No,
okay,
man,
so
never
I brought
been
you on my
invited.
other channel.
You did invite me, but then you canceled the day of.
That's right. I'm very good at doing that. Well, I'm glad you're here. We will have to do a reboot of this. We are in search for a third Migo. Our mullet friend had other pad.
Dude, you scratching a record over there? What's going on?
DJ Jeremy Knight. Speaking of, remember how I told you I'd tell you about that NFT? The NFT was a Diplo album drop, and when it dropped at 5 p.m., you could buy it for the one I was going to buy, $1,000. It is now back on the resale market for $33,000.
Wow.
It's crazy. And then here's what makes it interesting. You get a percentage of royalties for for the streaming. So he gave away 20% of his royalties for the album's success. And so of that, there were maybe 100 to purchase, and you get royalties for life for as well as the song does.
Wow. Yeah, I've read on the NFTs. I haven't gotten deep into it like that, but that makes me want to explore it a little bit more.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. I couldn't hear you. I just, I could see Ian's face, and he was like professing his love for me is what I heard. So super excited about that. But all right, so it's 8:10. I promised Jeb I'd get him out of here by 8:10. He's got to go pick up his son. Everybody, thank you, Jeb. Maybe we will bring you on as the third Migo. But he's got his live stream is tomorrow at this same time, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. California time.
Pacific,
so,
yep.
Jeb, thank you so much, man. I will
appreciate it, gents. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. We'll see you later. Bye, everybody.